Oh man. Hi. Hello everybody. Look, we got sunshine.
Hello, we're here. We finally got it on
Yeah,
here.
we made it finally. Looks
Been
like
a
we got
couple
quite a
of
few in
couple of weeks, yeah.
the chat. Yeah, we've been working on this a while, y'all. So,
Hmm.
let's see if we can just let me scroll up through here and I'll say hello to everybody. And y'all know me with technology. Let's see, we've got Sunshine and Gallet and Hooray, JFD, TJ. Let's see who else we got. Who else? I know I saw some more names. Dr. Soup, hello.
Good old Shelby.
Armel, I know, I love Shelby to death. Armel, Mary Sue, let's see, Keely, my Keely talks, I love you. Margot, let's see who else we got. Tiffany, Tiffany is something else. Megan O'Shea, hello. Let's see, Fe, Cassie, hello, welcome. I think you're a new name. I'm not sure. Jane, hello. So hello, my cat's on me. Hello, Witchy one. Oh, yeah. I'm just gonna brag on Witchy one again. She sent me some of her art that she's done or that
Hmm.
she does. Wow, she's so talented. I can barely write my name, so I'm so jealous of people that Elizabeth me, hello, that are artistic, so
Oh, don't
so
put yourself down.
oh no, seriously, I can barely write my name. It's not artistic at all. We're a faker maker, hello, welcome. Um, I'm more I write. That's my thing. I've always been a writer. So I can write stories. I can, my creative's in here.
That's the best thing. That's always the best
Yeah,
one. Make sure
yeah.
you got it somewhere and that'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, how are you feeling? I know you had your shot the other day, but
Yes, I had it on Tuesday. I was telling the Shelby earlier because I was on a call with Shelby for like 2.5 hours earlier. So, and it knocked me for six. I was quite surprised because of how
yeah,
bad it was. Because when I went on, say Tuesday morning, it was the nurse. She goes, "Oh yeah," she went rattled through all the things that we need. Oh, you could get this, you could get that. I was like, right, okay, whatever. The day was
yeah,
fine. Went through the entire day. In the evening, then my mate rang me. He's like, "Oh, do you want to come online and me? I'll play Call of Duty." And I was just sat there. I was like, "Mate, I feel like crap." I was like, I feel so bad. And he's like, "You only had your flu shot." I went, "Yeah, but I feel bad, because obviously they're putting a bit of
mhm,
the virus in you, aren't they?" And
yeah,
I was just there, and I just felt really, really tired. I was like,
yeah,
right, okay, just I didn't do anything. Went to bed early. Went to bed like 8:30 Tuesday night, and
mm,
didn't sleep at all. I was telling Shelby, like I say, because I got an Apple Watch. I don't wear it to bed, but I was like, I'll wear it to bed just to see what happens. And I
yeah.
didn't sleep at all. My heart rate didn't go below 120, which scared me a little bit because I was in the shell. I was like, should this actually be right? But
For
the
real.
next day, obviously, because I didn't sleep, I felt even worse. And
Yeah,
I was just sat down. It was just an effort just to move forward to get my drink off the table. I was like, that's it. I'm going to
gosh,
spend the day in bed. Done that, and I slept then for like 9.5 hours straight. But
wow.
at this moment, I still got a bit of a headache, and I still feel tired. But it's like, just get on with it. Like I was saying to you
Yeah.
yesterday, when I streamed last night, it took my mind off it. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, so I'm just doing something else. Hence, again, while we're
Yeah,
here now, it's like literally, no, no, don't
yeah,
cancel. Go on it. Take your mind
yeah.
off things so you can just, so you can go.
Yeah. Well,
But yeah,
yeah.
it was just a nightmare. And say, Shelby, she's had her first jab as well, she was saying, and she
Oh,
was fine.
yeah.
How about yourself? Have you had it yet? Or,
No, I haven't had it yet. My husband and I are scheduled for, I think, about several months or several weeks from now, about a month
Mhm.
from now, before we get ours. But we are scheduled for one, and I'm kind of worried about it because whenever I take a flu shot, I end up with the flu, and so I'm kind
Yes,
of
no,
worried about taking
I
this because
understand that.
I'm
I got
like,
friends who have. Like, say, with the flu shot, I was fine. It's like, yeah, boom,
yeah,
done. But with this one,
yeah,
I was just knocked for six. It was just like, oh my
uh,
God. And if you suffer with the normal flu, but again, though, you could be the type of person to go in, have this, and be like, yes, it's
yeah,
great.
yeah, and that's yeah, you never
It's
know,
just
and
weird. I think it's just luck of the needle, whichever
I
one you
think
get.
so. I think so, and I just I just hope I don't get it. Which right now I've got a little bit of a spring cold, I guess you'd call it,
Yeah, but you're
and
saying.
yeah, so I made me up some of that good homemade cough syrup. I don't know if you've got it over there. I know Keely. She told me I was telling her about it, and she told me she has a similar recipe, and it's just basically 100 proof whiskey, local honey, some peppermint, and some lemon juice, and you just mix it all together and sip on that. And I've been trying to make sure I didn't get drunk, but
I say that's the
it
only
does
issue
help
with
a
me
cough.
is the alcohol. So I haven't had a drop
Yeah.
of alcohol in about 3 years.
Oh wow!
So
Congratulations.
oh, it's
That's
not. No, no,
awesome.
no. It's because I'm on morphine for my back. I've been on morphine now for 3 years. So
Yeah. Oh
it's
yeah. Yeah. You
it's
can't mix
taken a lot of
tobacco.
fun out of a lot of
Yeah.
stuff. I will admit, because
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
over there. I got 2 bottles of Conor McGregor, the Propo 12 whiskey, because
Yeah.
I am a big whiskey drinker. Well, I was.
Oh
I got
wow.
Gentleman's Jack. I got Highland Scottish one, which is like 30 odd years old. And I'm just like, right, I need to get off these tablets now. I need to get my surgery or whatever, get better
Yeah.
so I can finally drink them. But
Oh
yeah,
wow.
3 years.
Yeah.
3 years in July. I've last time I had a drink, which sucks because New Year's and all that.
Mm,
Well,
yeah.
money
Yeah.
could go out anyway.
Yeah. When you
I
could
would
go out.
spend I would spend so much money on drink. But again, I used to love it, literally. Not to the
Well, have you
extent I was
noticed?
alcoholic, but I could
Have
be
you noticed
known to
since
have
you
a
quit?
drink in the afternoon.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
just a little sip every once in a while. But have you noticed since you quit drinking that you save some more money?
I
Have you
have,
noticed
yeah,
a
that
difference
is
in money?
literally it.
Oh
Let's say, because
wow.
obviously over here with the drinks, it depends where you go, though, really. It's
Yeah.
if you go to the local pubs and clubs in Barry, where I live, it'll be
Yeah.
for a double Jackson Coke. Normally comes to about £5 50 £6, which is not too bad. Which
So
I think that works
bad.
out to like
Mm-mm.
$9 or something, $9 $10.
Yeah.
But if you
Yeah.
go into Cardiff, into the main city, it's I
Yeah.
always remember we went to a club. My mate he ordered 2 double Jacks and Coke, and he ordered one normal Pepsi, and it came to like £23. And he went, "I'm not paying that." And the guy just looked at him. He's like, "Well, what?" He goes, "You ordered these." He went, "Yeah, but I didn't know I had to remortgage the house for him." Because we just couldn't believe it. Literally £23 for those just for 3 drinks. And it's
Gosh.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, it was a £10 for one drink.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah, it's annoying.
yeah. That's how it is around here. Which I'm kind of.
Mm,
I don't know if you've ever heard of Muscle Shoals,
mm,
Home of Fame Recording Studios.
yep.
Yeah, yeah. Rolling Stones is one of the bands that's recorded here. Yeah, this is where that's where I'm at. I'm in this area, and so we don't have a lot of bars or pubs as you call them. But you tend to pay more in those than I mean, I can go down here to the liquor store and buy a bottle of something for $3, So,
Yeah.
but on average, when you go into the bars and stuff, 6, 7, sometimes up to $10 a piece. So yeah, I know how it is. And but see, that's the advantage of being a woman, though, too. I don't care what these girls say. I never take money when I go to a bar.
Uh,
I have a great time and drink all night.
oh yeah,
Oh,
it is. It's when you gotta pay so much for certain things, it just it's like
yeah.
saying saving money. I've saved a shit ton of money, excuse my language, but I have
Yeah,
from not drinking, literally. But again with the pandemic last year as well, I saved quite a bit through that because obviously working from home and doing everything else, fuel went down tremendously for us because no one was going out
Oh,
and no one was well basically using their cars because
yeah.
obviously we do it by the liter, so not the
Yeah,
gallon when you fill your car up
yeah.
and you see again it's normally like 4.4 liters to a gallon or something like that it is,
Okay.
and it would
Yeah,
normally be about £1.20 at the moment per liter, which I
yeah.
think that works out something like $2 a liter. So obviously, it end up like $8 to $10 for a gallon, and obviously it's come down so much. And that's one thing I am actually jealous about with the states of how much you pay for gas. I was like, I would love that. I'd be filling my car up all the time.
Oh, and I tell you, gas has went up here. We're near $3 a gallon again. And for the longest it had dropped down and I guess because nobody was driving, but now that everybody's getting back
Yeah.
out, everything's getting back to normal, it's shooting back up again. And I'm like, well, of course, start getting my money back again, and I'm going to spend it on everything else, you know?
This is it. Yeah, you got because literally everything's starting to open up again. It's like, oh, there we go. This has to
Yeah,
come now. You gotta start doing it. Say because here in the UK, this week they've allowed non-essential items to be sold in supermarkets again.
yeah,
And the worst thing is, in the centre of Cardiff, they got Marks and Spencer's M&S, which is it's kind of like an upscale Walmart sort of thing, for all the clothing and everything else. And they were there, and they were allowed to open up because they have a very small food court in the building. But
yeah,
every other shop around it, not allowed to open. And obviously, because they're doing the queuing system, and you've had
yeah,
all these people now, they're like, well, I'm losing money now because all these people are here. They can't come in my store, but they can go in there. And they say with the prices going up, they slashed prices for most items, but for
yeah.
food, they upped all the food by about £1 or two. And it's like, wow. It's like, yeah, you gotta go through the court to actually buy something
Mhm.
first. And it's like, wow, you
Yeah.
know what you've done there. Make some more money.
Oh, that's it. That's it. It's all about the money. And
That's
I
where
think it's a good way to segue into what I thought we might
Mm,
talk about today.
go for it.
So, I saw your video, and I did one this morning too, talking about the subpoenas to Miss Wasser.
I
And of
saw.
course, old Muskie being involved again. So, and that's the thing that gets me. It's all about the money. It's
Oh,
got to be.
100%.
And it's just so, I just feel so sorry for Johnny because, I mean, he didn't pay $500 to get a divorce. He paid a lot of money to this woman. But
Oh, yes.
Muskie keeps popping up with his more money to, and it just, I'm just, the more this goes on, I'm so excited I hope he don't get out of this. Do you think he's going to get out of his subpoena? Do you
Uh,
think you're going to get him this time?
Muskie, I'm not too sure. Again, like
Yeah.
we've all said, he's got enough bloody money just to
Mhm.
send anyone to court and just be. He could just stay there and be like, I could just keep selling my stock and you'll just be
Yeah.
bankrupt. Everyone would. No one would ever beat him in court because he can just keep going and going. But
Yeah.
with this, I'm a little bit. He may just keep dodging all these subpoenas or whatever, but
Yeah.
if I was him, again, it's completely different again because it's like if we were them, I'd be like,
Yeah.
just to put an end to it, I'd be like, right, okay, yeah, here's my deposition. Then nothing happened. This is going it, and that's it. Then get
Yeah.
rid of it because obviously he's supposedly really happy with his
Yeah.
fiance or girlfriend and his child. It's like,
Yeah.
why would you want to get your name keep coming up, popping up, being
Exactly.
spread about all this crap and about
Yes.
this woman who has literally admitted to being an abuser. And the
Yeah.
only people who seem to be supporting her, uh, some crazy people online who literally telling
Mhm.
others who don't believe them to go kill themselves. And
That's
you
horrible.
got, Roberta Kaplan, who was a
Yeah.
big innovator for the legal side of the Me Too movement, but she represented the guy who was the cause of the Me Too movement.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it just doesn't make sense.
It, it blows my mind. I mean, because I've tried to look at this from the point of view of not taking out the fact that I'm a fan of Johnny Depp. Just look
Mm,
at it straight for the facts. And the thing is when you look at what the facts and what the real evidence is,
mm.
I don't see how anybody can say, "Oh, he did it," And I hear this from, I've heard. I saw Rob's video earlier today that was talking about one of the YouTubers that was talking
John
about the
Campea,
99.
yeah.
Yes, and I've never
Yeah.
heard of the guy, so but it's just like,
I watch him every day. This is the thing.
do you really?
And say, because his show is literally, let's talk about movies. This is the upcoming movie news. This
Okay.
has happened. This has happened. And
Yeah,
say, with that, he came into the topic last night. And
yeah,
well, in the morning for you guys, it was. And
yeah,
I was just watching it, and he was like, "Oh, he got and straight away. He goes, I don't like talking about this TMZ type stuff and all this kind of stuff. I don't care who's going out with who's doing this, who's doing that. I'm not a drama channel. I don't care." Then he was saying
yeah,
about the situation, obviously, which Rob put out there as well, which is like
Yeah.
99.9% of all these people, they're wrong. They haven't
Yeah.
read it. And because I
Mhm.
was watching, I say, because I am sub to the guy, you know, I watch him every day.
Yeah.
And I was like, right, I went down to the comments, the live chat, and
Yeah.
I was just saying to Shelby, I was like, I was going to put in it, actually, mate, here's a link to my channel just for, you know, this is just one
Mhm.
example. But you had so
Yeah.
many people in his chat because he gets between 2 and 6,000 viewers on his each stream. And there was so many people saying, actually, the people have streamed these documents, they've read through them. And I was like,
Mhm.
you know what? That is good to see. I
Yeah.
was like, right, just
Yeah.
leave it. But he carried on for
Yeah.
like 10 minutes as well. And it's like, I'm not a drama channel, but then he goes off into a drama rant.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
like,
what.
yeah, there we go. That's, you know, Andy
Mhm.
Signal, Popcorn Planet. He's
Yes.
had a lot of issues with John Campier because they both
Okay.
used to be basically Andy Signal before Popcorn Planet. He had another YouTube channel, a couple of them, and a company
Okay.
where they had millions of subscribers. And
Yeah.
you used to have John Campier used to call Andy bottom of the barrel and stuff. And it's like, what, you know, it's like just because this guy is basically more successful than you, which he was.
Yeah.
And he would say things like, oh, Andy, you know, he goes, oh, he said, oh, not naming people, but obviously he was aimed at Andy. He goes, these people say they got exclusives, and these exclusives never turn out, and that's why they're wrong. This is why they only do it for the clicks. They and all this kind of stuff. And Andy
Mhm.
put one out, and he was like, well, let me tell you something now. He did an exclusive, like, oh, this is going to happen, blah, blah, blah. But then he was like, oh, see, it didn't turn out what he said. 2 weeks later, it came true. And Andy was like, see, my sources are correct. And
Yes.
he just left
Yes.
it. But I was saying to Shelby earlier about this is I saw on Twitter that Rob tagged John Campier in, which was like, yeah, that's fair enough. You know, ask him out straight what's going on. But then I saw
Yeah.
people underneath saying, where's his video? I'll go and downvote it. I'll downvote all his video. I'll leave comments. And I was just
Yeah.
thinking, I was like, that's the worst thing you can do because that's
Yeah.
going to make everyone who's supporting Johnny Depp look bad.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, see, I told you they were hateful. Look what they
Yeah.
put on the channel. Look what they've done here. They've downvoted
Mhm.
this. They haven't watched
Yeah.
it. And
Yeah.
those are things that we need to try and come away from because
Yeah. It's
that
true.
is kind of like what Amber fans have done, which they have. You know,
Yeah.
they
Well.
come on our channels. Like, even if I got one
Mhm.
video which had something like 10 downvotes, and they all went on within a matter of seconds of each other. And I was like,
Yeah.
right, okay, fair enough, whatever. But then
Mhm.
the comments
Yeah.
started coming in. There's about 10
Yeah.
comments, and they were all for her. I was like, there's where they've come from. That's where the downvotes have come from. And
Exactly.
they were really horrible tweets, you know. Some of them were like,
I'm so sorry. My
that's
husband
right.
doesn't seem to understand that I'm live on YouTube. Tell him this. He does it all the time.
Don't
I'm
worry.
so sorry.
Don't worry.
Just a second. There you go. He's over here going, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. He had forgotten. But yeah, I mean, you're right with that. It's such a. Go ahead.
Oh no, so yeah, it is. Like I said, I'm just saying with Rob. Now, Rob has just said about is a good point to say understand this community is a rate. So you'd say we are right with it, but we don't want to make ourselves look the worst people. You know,
Yeah.
it's just a sad thing. I think that's because I've been dealing with this with the anime community. Which say we got Roman
Hmm.
now in the chat, and say he's been with me. They've been
Yeah.
with me for a long time, and we've seen it before where people they try and pick only the one or two people out of it, you know, the bad eggs or whatever, and
Hmm.
they go, oh, they're all like this. You know,
Yeah.
a perfect example,
Yeah.
Sunday Times article last week when Polly Wood, the woman, she said about all the Johnny Depp fans because they
Hmm.
didn't really interview anyone from that side, but they went to someone on
Yeah.
Amber's side. Oh, they told me I should go kill myself,
Yes.
and
And
it's like that could be
oh,
one person who has said
exactly.
that, and then they're literally generalizing it and saying that's everyone.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
saying that to John Campier, that kind of guy, he would literally take that and run with it and be like, "See, I told you, they're all nuts.
Hmm.
None of them have done it." And he would because
Yes.
he is a big drama queen. He is,
Yeah.
and it's it's the way he says it though. He goes, "I don't like this. but then he goes into like a 10-minute rant. And I was like, that's why, it's exactly why
Exactly.
you do it, because it's
Mhm.
the because he chops up his strings. And at this moment in time, I think that one of Johnny Depp, I think that's the most views he's got from last night. Which obviously
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
People are going to be like, "What are you doing, mate? Why are you
Well,
talking like this? Why are you talking like shit?"
exactly. That's when I was listening to the video because, like I said, I'd never heard of him. I don't get to watch. I don't watch a lot of TV. I don't get to watch a lot of YouTube, so I don't know
Yeah,
who a lot of people are. And when I was listening to it, I was thinking, dude, why are you going on about it? If we're
yeah,
all wrong
exactly.
and we don't know what's going on, then why are you continue? Oh, let me guess, the clicks. That was
Which is
because
what he actually
everybody that
says in it as well. He goes, "Oh, they
yeah,
only do this for the clicks. They want to get it."
yeah,
And it's like
yeah,
what their favorite YouTubers and all this saying, and then they run with it. It's like you're doing exactly the same. Oh,
exactly, exactly. What's the soup saying? Oh,
she has to
take
go.
care. Going to edit Dan's striptease
Ah,
video. He made.
say we were together for 2.5 hours. So.
Oh Lord. What did you think about Adam's tweets this morning or last night and
Oh,
a certain person responding?
it's just pathetic. It was just it's the way he did it. It goes about it's just the way that she come out and later I'm trying because I was saying again talking to Soup because obviously mostly afternoon about it, and
Yeah.
she just acted like a child. The way it's just her
Yeah.
response. It was straight
Yes.
away. It was just like, "Huh? Oh, well, you're short." I was like,
Yeah. No.
"What?" Because I woke up and I saw it, and and I saw, and I was just there. And I was like, "No, it can't be." Obviously, waking up in a bit of a daze. I was like, "No, no one is tagging me in anything like this. This has got to be some kind of bullshit prank or
Yeah.
whatever." And I came downstairs and I made a cup of coffee and everything else. Sat down on the sofa and he said it was nice and quiet. My dog wasn't here either. He was out for his walk, and I was like, right, okay. And I got my laptop out, just literally to check Twitter and everything else. And I saw it, and
Yeah.
I was just there, like, is she trying to insult him? And like, how can someone say you're short? It's
You're
like,
short.
yeah, it's like, oh, I may have had makeup, but you'll always be short. And I was just there looking at it, and I was thinking, first of all, she's 35 years of age. That's one.
Hmm.
And secondly, as well, he didn't even mention her. He didn't link her, didn't tag her, didn't do anything. And
Yeah.
just the way, because the way the actual tweet went was, this was judge said this is what happened, and look at this, she said this, and now next day photo shoot. That was it.
Yes.
And she
Yes.
comes on, yeah, you're short. And you could just see everyone was just like, because I say I have retweeted it, and I was like,
Yeah.
this is literally going to cause a shitstorm.
Oh God, yes.
Because the way I look at it is, she opened herself up for all the abuse that she probably got,
Yeah.
because she
Exactly.
posted publicly when someone
Hmm.
didn't even tag her.
Yeah.
Obviously, she probably got either followers or friends or whatever who follow Adam.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
tweeted,
Yeah.
okay, this is what he said.
Hmm.
Between, I believe it was like 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. or whatever is when she messaged him, which is kind of interesting because Shelby showed me someone on YouTube called Tefley or Telfie, and she went forward and she did a thing, and I was like, oh, you know what? Yeah, because her assistant was saying she'd wake up to drunk messages between 2 and 4 in the morning. And so obviously this is happening. And I was just like, oh, this has got to be
Hmm.
some kind of stupid thing. But the way I looked at it is, the way she did it is, I'll put something stupid out. And if anyone comes back and if they say anything horrible, I could say, look, judge, this is what they
Yeah.
said to me. That's the only
Hmm.
way I could think about it. It's like she's doing it on purpose to get more evidence saying that
Yeah.
she's harassed online. And they
Exactly.
wouldn't even show Adam's tweet. It'd be like, well, why are
Yeah.
you responding to him? What did he say? Oh,
Hmm.
he just said what I
Exactly.
said in the courts. So why
Yeah.
did you reply to him? Why did you call him short?
Yeah.
It's oh, It's just,
But, every time she does something like this, though, and I mean, I got to say, I'm proud of our community. I'm proud of some of the stuff they say is hilarious. But every time I think about the same thing, because every time she does something like this, I can just see her going back to but see, this is why I need
yeah,
that. This is why I need it. See, they're harassing
they're
me,
doing this
and
to me,
so
they're doing that to me. Yeah,
yeah, and so that's why I can't respond to her. I just can't. I can't handle that level of stupid between
mm.
her and some of the people that
It is.
follow her.
It's because if you look through the actual thread, you got people who were sticking up for. Well, I think it was one or two people who were sticking up for her,
Yeah,
and they were
yeah,
like, "Oh, you're this, you're that," and they were calling other people like, "Well, actually, no, I'm a survivor," and
yeah.
this, with bruises, you can see
Mhm.
bruises because obviously they go that color because well, it's the blood vessels around it, it's all gone,
Yeah.
and there was one person. I had bruises all over my face, and no one saw them.
Mhm.
Okay. Did you have a
Yeah.
broken nose and black eyes?
Mhm.
Swollen? Do you have a cut lip? And it's
Yeah.
because I was saying to Shelby again with Shelby, because that's all my days been today is just talking to Shelby. And
Yeah.
with a busted lip, it's she said obviously it was literally busted wide open and everything else.
Yeah.
And I've had my fair share of busted lips.
I have to.
Nothing can
Same thing.
conceal that. I don't know about
Yeah.
lipstick because I've never put lipstick on, but even if I put
You
anything
wouldn't.
over, even just put a bit of Vaseline over to try and stop it, you could still see it
Mhm.
all. You could just see it like
Yeah.
because obviously it goes over and it goes up over it,
Mhm. Yeah.
and
That's what lipstick would do.
so, yeah. So it's
Yeah.
I don't know how she's unless it's some kind of miraculous lipstick, that gets rid of injuries.
Well, she didn't have any makeup on that day. And now Keely did a video this morning and she did some close ups looking,
Mm,
pulling the picture in close, looking at it. And you can see there's no busted lips. And she obviously doesn't have on any lipstick in it. She
yeah,
doesn't have any makeup on, but she claims she's wearing makeup, but Adam's short, from her wonderful reply. And, the thing is that I've had black eyes. And I had a busted nose. My nose wasn't broken, but it was busted, and did the little bruising across here. And there wasn't no amount of makeup. And I know she's got access to much better makeup people than me, but still, I've been doing this a while, and there's no amount of makeup that would cover it up completely. You might could lighten it a little bit,
yeah.
but you wasn't gonna cover it up.
You
And
can't conceal it completely.
yeah, and her claiming what was it? Two black eyes, busted nose, busted lip, and the bruised ribs, and there she is running across the bridge.
Broken
Yeah,
ribs. Yeah,
I've had broken ribs, and I've had bruised ribs recently. I wasn't running no damn where. That wasn't
exactly.
happening.
Again, you say it's because I broke my lower left rib when I was in year 8 of school, of secondary school, so like a high
Yeah.
school in America of it. And with that, literally, I was too scared to breathe because the doctor said if you breathe in too deep,
Mhm.
you're going to puncture your lung. Obviously,
Yeah.
being a 13, 14-year-old, I took that literally. I
Mhm.
was like, just take short
Yeah.
breaths. And my mum was like, don't do that, you're going to pass out. And I was like, well, the doctor said don't breathe in because I could puncture my lung. And she's like, no,
Mhm.
breathe in, but just be careful. I was like, all
Yeah.
right, okay. But yeah, it's literally, if you got busted ribs, you are not going to be doing all the movements she was doing. You're not going
Oh,
to
good
curl up for a
Lord.
photo. You're not going to,
Yeah.
do all this extravagant movement that she is doing in those photos.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
especially on the James Corden show. You got a
Oh God,
busted lip,
yes.
you're not going to be smiling and laughing like that because you're afraid it's
Mhm.
going to tear open.
Yeah, exactly. And
It's,
well, like, she says in that one too that I think during that incident, she also, her ribs were hurting her again at that time.
hmm.
Just a few weeks ago, I bruised some of my ribs and it hurt to laugh. And when I would laugh, I would grab hold of,
Yeah, like,
and that
oh,
was
this,
just bruising. Yeah. And
how'd you do
she's
that?
sitting here saying, "No, I've done all this." And she's, and
Hmm.
all that shit. I'm like, "You lying little go digging whore." That's what I've started calling her, go digging whore.
Why not? Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
I've
well,
called it worse off stream and stuff.
it's not like I'm lying. I mean,
No, you're not.
she is a gold digger, and my definition of a whore is someone who sleeps around. And I mean, ooh, boy.
Oh yes, let's just get as much money as we can, which is
Yes.
exactly what she's done. But yeah, it's everything that she has recently done. It's say because my father, he watches my stuff and all that. He was like, "Oh, I support you. I watch the ads and everything for you." I'm like, "Ah, cheers, Dad." And he's gotten interested in it because at first he was, again, like the majority of people, is the media sways
Mhm.
you. When it's all
Yeah.
come out, it was straight away. It was believe the woman, believe the victim, which it was.
Yeah.
Which again, we were saying, me and Shelby were talking, and say Stevie last week as well. That's exactly what you want to do. You want to be able to
Exactly.
believe the victim that they're right.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
again, sadly, when you got people like her out there, you're going to get the real people not going to come forward and like, no one's going to believe me. And
Exactly.
that's a really sad thing. And so my father,
Mhm.
he's gotten into it now, and he's listened to the audio and all this kind of stuff, and he's like, "Fucking hell, Dan, I can't believe she's a video. She's that bitch." And I'm like, well, "Yeah, it's." But he said as well.
Yeah.
He goes, "The media made everyone believe that Johnny Depp was the bad guy,
Yes. Yeah.
which is exactly what they did. And then all of a
Mhm.
sudden, now everyone wants to hear the true story." Which
Yeah.
is kind of interesting, even though the court have done what they've done, and they've stopped the appeal. Everyone is still rooting for Johnny, which is a
Yeah.
great thing to see. When you've got
Mhm.
solicitors, lawyers, and everything else, and even when you've got some of the media who are now actually like, yeah, he done this, but he still got this.
Yeah.
Everyone is optimistic because they've seen all the evidence,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I think
I
is amazing.
mean, which, I kept saying before we got the verdict, I was cautiously optimistic, but I was
Mm,
really afraid. Then I was afraid they weren't going to go against one of their guys. And
yeah,
that seems to be what the case was because you can't, like I said when we were talking earlier, you can't look at that evidence and think that he is guilty of anything other than being too kind. You know,
exactly.
that that's all you can find guilt for him. I mean, I guess if they want to say, well, he did drugs, well, yeah, but he admits to it. It's not like he lied about it.
And
That's
put
really all you
saying
can
you
say.
drink and do drugs and that's why he did it, that's just
Yeah.
bullshit in my eyes. It's like, no, just because he
Oh,
does one vice doesn't mean he's capable of that when he's under the influence. And we've seen the
exactly.
photo of what he's like when he is on drinking drugs, back,
Hmm.
the drink or whatever. It's like, well, oh yeah, he looks such a threat, doesn't he?
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
all that down him. And he
Threat.
just, and to say, Shelby brought up a good point earlier because she was showing me photos as well. And
Yeah.
there's some of them I haven't seen. And it's just
Yeah.
like when they're at award ceremonies or just out and about, he just looks like he's on edge all the
He
time.
does. He
And I
does.
was like, oh my God, literally everyone saw those photos. And,
Hmm.
she's there, she's all smarmy, a bit like the Elon Musk one where he's got the
Hmm.
shiner and she's all
Yeah.
smiling and he's just like, almost like, oh, she gonna hit me again, And I was just like, oh, bloody hell, there's so many of these out there. But
Hmm.
yeah, see, let's like going back to the judges. It's sadly it's an old boys club, which is absolutely wrong. It shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
And even
Yeah.
though the way they were acting, it was almost like, well, yeah, we believe that Johnny Depp was beaten up himself,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
yeah, but we're going to believe her more because again, she's a woman. It's
Yeah.
sad to say, but we're going to go with her. And say this, but it won against her though, which a lot of us keep saying it was NGM.
Yeah.
But the
Right.
paper should be held accountable because it's like
Yeah.
just because someone called him this doesn't automatically make him that just because the paper printed it. It's
Exactly.
the press has got they've got so much trouble of what they've done in the past. They've done good,
Yeah.
but they've also done extremely bad, especially the Sun. The Sun in the UK is
Exactly.
just disliked by everyone.
Well, yeah, and I had a lot of people talking about that, and I was like, from everything I understand, the Sun is just basically trash in the UK,
Yeah.
and
It's
so
the National Enquirer on steroids.
yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And going back to what you was talking about with the pictures, me and Keely have talked about this a lot.
Mm.
I have noticed so many times that when he was with her, he looks frightened. He looks
Yes.
depressed, sad. He doesn't, and I didn't notice it at the time because unfortunately, at the time that all that was happening for him, that was the time my mom got the most sick. In fact, she passed away in
Mm.
2016, just right into it. So I wasn't seeing everything, I just hearing about it here and there. But going back and looking at the pictures now, and you see the two of them together, he's just so pitiful, and you can see such a difference between before and after her in just his whole facial expression.
There's one,
and
I
it,
can't remember where it was, but he's just like on the end of like an aisle and he's just like that. And he just looks nervous, and she's just right next to him in his face like that. It's almost like, oh, is she going to hit me again?
yeah,
That's what it looked
yeah,
like. And she's like, oh,
yeah,
you say anything, I'll fucking hit you. That's what it seemed
and
like in a photo. But it's
yeah,
surprising how many photos are out there of them like that, which is shocking because no one picked up on it.
I know, yeah. I know, until I started getting into doing all this, I didn't research all this. And,
Mhm.
so I would see, and that's the problem. Most people see what the media puts out. And if you're just reading headlines,
Oh,
most of the
yes.
headlines are crap, and they're going to, if you're not, well, even most of the articles, you don't see a lot of good, but every once in a while you'll find some. But if you're just reading headlines and just skimming, most people are going to think he's guilty. And that's why I think
Exactly.
it's so important what you, me, and Stevie, Shelby, Rob,
Mm.
everybody, Keely, Les, everybody's doing. I think it's so important because Zod, yeah, I just saw Zod.
Yes, odds, yeah.
So important. Yeah, it's so important because I'm like you. I've had people that I've talked to about it, especially when I start telling them what I'm doing with YouTube, and they're like, "Oh, but what? Wait a minute, didn't he do that to her?" And I'm like, "No." And when I sit there and give them the information, they're like, well, "I never knew. I just had saw, and they'll
Yeah.
name off such and such."
It's
Yeah.
crazy when you think that's all they've seen. It's like, oh, I saw it on the
Hmm.
news or I saw it on the paper. And it's like, what? But then again, this day and age, the worst thing of it all is social media
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
everyone believes social media. And it's a sad
Exactly.
thing. Social media, the way I look at it, because one of my jobs before I became an editor was I used to work for Tesco. Here in the UK, Tesco is like
Yeah.
Walmart. And
Yeah.
I used to be their social media manager and one of their managers for it. And it was the greatest job I've ever had. I absolutely loved it. And what it was the greatest thing ever, but it's also the worst tool ever, social media. Because this day
Yeah.
and age, people see something on Facebook, Twitter, whatever,
Hmm.
automatically, it must be true. And the funniest thing that is, my mother, she keeps seeing things on Facebook. She doesn't go on Twitter. She doesn't get it. She's like, "How can I only say something in so many characters?" And I'm like, "That's Twitter, mum."
Yeah.
And so she goes on Facebook and she
Yeah.
sees things and she's telling me, like, oh, and I'm like, why do you believe that? She's like, oh, well, so and so's posted it, one of her friends and all that. And
Hmm.
I'm like, I'm good. And I've said this so many times now. I've said it so many times on stream. What they used to say to me when I was a kid, don't believe everything you see on TV. Now I'm saying to
Hmm.
my mother, who's nearly 60, don't believe everything you see online, mum. And she's like, oh,
Yes.
yeah, okay. And I'm like, well, it's true. It's complete role reversal, but it's amazing because it's true.
Yeah.
Social media is the worst thing and the best thing doing. Dan Wooten, for example,
Mm.
some of the stuff that guy has come out and said on social media, not just about Johnny Depp, but everyone
Yeah.
else, Caroline Flack, say with her,
Yes.
all this kind of stuff. It's like, why hasn't anyone got rid of him? It's
Yeah.
sad to say, it's because he's part of that little group, of that clique.
Mhm.
He's like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
with them. They won't get rid of me, which they won't.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's such a shame. And now when all that came out, who was it? The guy tweeted I think it was Miss Flacker's ex fiance
Mm.
that tweeted out all that stuff here recently about Dan Wooten. I was like, oh my God. See, I knew the name because of this case, but I didn't really know who he was, and then started reading all that. And I was like, oh my God.
The
And it
stuff he
just went
posted
away.
on, yeah, literally, he was on, because it was all over the front pages last year, because he was the editor at the time. And
Yeah.
because he was the editor, he could do whatever he wanted to. And that's wrong because
Yeah.
she killed herself because of people like him. And, like her
That's,
ex-fiance, he put out all that stuff saying literally, she did this, you all did this to her. This is what
yeah.
goes on. And
Hmm.
Jake Davis, yeah, we need another Piers Morgan style dumping. Basically,
Yes.
say with Piers Morgan, he's a love him or hate him character.
Yeah.
Sometimes I agree with him, but the majority of times I'm like, dude, what the hell are you on about?
Yeah.
Because obviously he used to be in the States on was it CNN? He was on
Ah,
there for quite a
yeah.
while.
Yeah. He's been on a lot of stuff over here. I've
Mhm.
seen him a few times, and I agree with you. He's kind of, sometimes you're like, yeah, and then sometimes you're like,
Sometimes like,
what's
what the hell are
wrong?
you doing, mate?
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, they need to get rid of say Dan Woot, and he has caused so much distress to people in this country, and again, obviously celebrities in America, whatever. And he just seems to get away with stuff. But
yeah.
I just don't understand how that can happen, because you go out, you literally make someone, pass on basically, and it's all,
Mhm.
because of things that you said, but not just you,
Yeah,
but a mixture of
yeah,
others. Why aren't you
exactly.
being held accountable? But then
Yeah,
obviously we've had all the other people coming forward now. There was a few people saying he tried it on with me, he did this, he did that. And again, it was all in February for a couple of days, around the Valentine's Day and stuff. Then all of
yeah,
a sudden, it just went quiet. Like I say, I'm
yeah,
trying to find stuff on Twitter and everything else, nothing about it anymore. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
there we go. Literally, either
Mhm,
he's got friends in high places or
mhm.
these people love him.
Yeah, yeah. Because I've watched for it myself because I was really interested. I felt so sorry for the lady. I wasn't aware of who she was, but to just read what he had wrote, I was just like, and this happens to so many people. And
Yeah,
the fact that he's made it public, I was like, okay, good. This is going to be, something's gonna be done. Finally, somebody is gonna be held accountable. And then, like you
exactly.
said, it just disappeared. And I was like, well, I don't understand. And
Yeah,
I haven't
I,
heard
I don't
anything
see
else
how it's
about it.
gone.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, those are some really, really horrible things that were said. And like you said, some people were coming out saying, well, he did this to me, did this, and then nothing,
Just went
nothing.
poof into the air,
Yeah,
gone.
yeah.
It's
And
like saying with what Tina was saying. No, sorry, not Tina. Sorry, Tanya. That he's gone and got another job,
yeah,
and this job is another high-powered position with like an up-and-coming newspaper. But the guy who owns it, he's a multi-billionaire again. So you're like, oh yeah,
of
we'll have
course.
him. But he left the
Mm,
Sun, and it was almost like something was going on because it was like just before the verdict, not the verdict, sorry, just before like, oh, he can go in and put his appeal forward. It was
yeah,
almost like we'll do something like this just to take the thing off. Like, oh yeah, he's gone,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's just like what it's he's one of the people that does deserve to be cancelled. There's people.
exactly.
I'm not all for cancel culture, but when it's
Yeah,
people like him who have actively made people literally commit
yes,
suicide and everything else, it's like, no, you need to be held accountable, mate. You need to go be gone.
exactly. Exactly. When you think about the, and just you don't even have to be doing this. Just somebody just reading Twitter or reading
Mm,
any of the gossip columns in any magazine. You can imagine how if you're the flavor of the week for the gossip columns, how that can start to wear on you. You
oh
know,
God, yeah. It's
and
Cheryl Cole here in the UK. She used to be she's a singer and all that, but
yeah,
she's had so much crap. Again, he said so many horrible things to her on the on the front page as well, like the L'Oreal one I did in the video about it. He was
yeah,
like, "Ha, she's lost £4.5 million because of this," and it's like, whoa. It's like she may be rich or something, but you don't go and say something like that on the front page.
yeah,
And it was interesting because the front page, it was like literally three quarters was her face in the title, and in the top left corner was literally this person has been arrested for so many murders. I'm like, that's your headline there. But no,
exactly.
you gotta go with Cheryl Cole, yeah, because he was the editor.
Hmm. Yeah,
Ugh,
yeah. And I mean, it's which I know that when you become a celebrity, you sign up for it, but you have to stop
exactly.
and think about these are people too. They're still human beings. And
Yes.
I mean, even with AH, as much as I despise her and hate her, I
Hmm.
don't think that she should be pushed to the point that she's ready to off herself. I don't think that it should be headlines full of, you're ugly or whatever. Truth,
Yeah,
yeah, but just like she's lost $1 million. So what? That shouldn't be a headline when there's
no, it
obviously
shouldn't.
other things more important going
Oh,
on.
yes.
And that's the thing. They've forgotten what's important. It's like the whole world has really. a lot of days, which I'm getting old. So, I hear myself saying stuff and I'll think, God, that's what my parents used to say. Oh God, I'm getting old,
Like I said, I'm 35, and some of the things I say now, my parents used to tell me, and I'm just there like, oh
Mhm.
my God, yeah, this is it now. But it's like, no, you're only as old as you feel. That's why. That's what
That's
they
it.
keep telling me as
That's it.
well. So I'm like, yeah,
Yes,
well, just
and
carry on like that. Just go better.
yeah, and like Nitro Scout said, age would never take her own life, which is good. She just needs to go away, and I agree. She just,
Yeah, she's
yeah,
the type of because she is just so full of herself.
yeah,
If
yeah, and that's
but
like
she needs to be held accountable for what she's done, 100%.
exactly,
But
exactly.
I wouldn't tell her to go and get rid of herself. You
No,
know,
no.
it's
Well,
sorry, go on.
when this verdict came down yesterday, and I said this in that video that I did this morning, I knew she was going to be emboldened. I was expecting it, but she I wasn't expecting what she did with Adam. I just got so I was see, I get up at 1:30 in the morning. I have a granddaughter.
Oh, how
And I
old
have to have time to get
granddaughter?
awake. Yeah, I've got a
Yeah.
1-year-old granddaughter. And
Oh, lovely.
I spend the mornings with her. So I get up at 1:30 so that I've got time to get awake and, time to do my stuff here. And then I can go play with her. And so Keely turned me onto it this morning. She's like, look,
Mm.
she just responded to Adam, Lynn. So I'm looking at Twitter. I'm like, Jesus. Yeah.
It is. It's like I said. It was just so. It was bizarre. I think that's
Yes.
probably the best way to describe it. It's out of
Yes.
everything she could have said, because we've seen her put some really horrible tweets out there
Yeah.
and some other things, and it's just like that's what you said.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's it's. I just don't understand. Was she trying to be funny? Was she trying to get the hate? It's almost like we were saying earlier. It's almost like, oh, look, Judge, they do harass me. This is what they've said.
Yeah.
Or it was
Yeah.
just that she may have had a couple of glasses. Huh, you're short. I never told you before, but you're short.
Yeah, that was my thing is more like she's drunk, and so this is all she can come up with and probably type at that time without being
Mm.
able to. Yeah, it was great, Lois. It was great. But, and Melissa's got it. She's took the words out of my mouth. She wants attention in any form she can get it for real. And that's true. I think
100%.
I think her personality, I did a few videos comparing it to narcissistic behavior. And
Mm.
that's the thing. They want that it doesn't matter
Yeah.
if it's good or bad. They want attention,
They want
period.
it. Doesn't matter. Like say, it's like with publicity. All publicity is good publicity to them.
Yeah.
It could be the
Yeah.
worst thing going, which this case for her it is. She's been
Yeah.
called every single name under the sun. But if you go on Google and you put in Amber Heard, and then you click the news part, everything.
Yeah.
It's not about her really. It's about Johnny Depp losing the appeal.
Yes.
Unless you go to the Sun, wife beater, denied
Yeah.
and all this kind of stuff. I was like, well, obviously they would say that. But
Yeah.
then everyone else, like, yeah, he's denied. He's denied. And if you read most of them, they're all actually like, well, he had evidence to go forward, but the judges didn't see it necessary. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, you know what? That's actually a little bit of journalism. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
Again,
I
they
can
could have
accept
said,
that.
like, well, how come they haven't accepted it? Like we all have, why didn't they? Because
Yeah.
it's substantial evidence. But
Yeah.
again, it's don't go against your fellow judge or your fellow brother or whatever. Like
Yeah.
again, in the
Yeah.
States, you have like the fraternities and all that. And
Yeah.
again, I'm only getting my info regarding like the skulls and all that kind of stuff in those films. Where if you go against one of your own like fraternity brothers, you can be kicked out and stuff. And
Yeah.
it's like that's exactly what the judges are like. Is you don't go against one another, even if it's a bad one. And like I was
Mhm.
saying with Shelby and everyone yesterday on the stream, I looked it up. In the last year, there was like nearly 1 million appeals in the UK. And again, these are ranging from cases going back a couple of years, maybe decades or whatever. I can
Yeah.
appeal again. So, and they're going through, and only 1,300 got through. They were the only
So
1,300 were accepted
gosh.
out of 1 million. It's
Mm.
like how many cases out of those are real, and that
Yeah.
some of them have actually been, oh yeah, we don't care about it, I just get rid of them. It's scary to think.
It is. It really is. And, I do hope that we will see. I hope Johnny wins over here. I really do, but I just keep thinking, just like you were talking about with the headlines, you see Johnny Depp, even when you Google her name, it's Johnny Depp. So I'm hoping that more
Mhm.
people are seeing at least that, hey, something's not right here.
Yeah.
There, let me look at this. And, you know, I don't know if did you see we got this covered Scott Campbell article he did about her wanting an Oscar. I was so shocked.
Oh no, but I saw Rob's video. I saw Rob. I was literally. It's like, yeah, she's not even a B-list actress. She's way
Yeah.
below a B, and it's just like, yeah, she's not going
Yes.
to win an Oscar. No chance.
Well, you know how much he's always got his lips tattooed to her butt, and when
Oh,
I
Scott
started
Campbell has,
reading
yeah,
it, yes, yeah, he's who wrote that article that Rob did the
yeah.
video on, and I was just like, I can't believe even he is, even he can't say that she's a good actress. And I mean, and when I read
It's
that, I was just,
with him. It's like, so I can remember a lot of the ones I've covered about him, and it's sometimes you'll see people. He's put things out there. Oh, they're all against him, Amber, because of this, because of that, or
mm,
whatever. These fans are for
mm,
Johnny, and then like a next article will be the complete same article. It'd be changed around for the sentences, and it'd be a different headline by Scott Campbell. And everyone,
that's
oops, excuse
ridiculous.
me, they just like, what the hell's going on? It's the same thing. And
Yeah.
saying that about the Oscar, when I saw it on Rob's video, I was just like, that's never going to happen. Because when you look at some of the actresses who has never won an Oscar, and there has
Yeah.
been literally absolutely amazing actresses who have never won one. And it's like, do you really
Yes.
think that you're going to be able to get an Oscar and they haven't?
Yeah.
It's
Uh,
almost like she thinks she's the young Meryl Streep, but she's not. It's because again, I think she's the one who's won the most Best Actress awards, and they
yeah,
classed
I
her as
think
like
so.
the hierarchy of the Oscars for the females, and
Yeah.
Daniel Day Lewis for the males. And
Yeah.
there's no chance she's anything. She's not even good for Best Supporting Actress.
No.
It's
No.
I think it's because the way she acts is so wooden. And like I
Yeah.
say, in the Justice League that was just released, for some unknown reason, she has a British accent at the end of it. When she has seen it at the beginning, it's American, and then it's like what's going on? It's like you're in the future. I get that, but why would your accent change? Oh, it's just so bad. Like I say, she's literally only in that film for like 3 minutes, but it was just that
Yeah.
part. I just couldn't stop laughing. I was like, "What am I listening to?" And even because I watched it with my dad, and my dad's like, "Isn't she American?" I was like, "Yeah." That's how bad the accent is. It's you get obviously the majority of actors when they do accents, they are absolutely incredible. But she
Yeah.
sounds a bit like how Dick Van Dyke sounded in Mary Poppins. Way too much over it. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, here we go, Mary. And again, people in the UK, when they hear the Dick Van Dyke, that's all they think about. They just love it. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's not what it sounds like, but that's amazing. And that's what she sounded like. She was like, those bastards. And just like, no one speaks like that. Like what we were talking in the DMs about what
Yeah.
thing he said to Key.
Yes. Yeah.
You don't say
Exactly.
these things.
No,
Oh, there's
no.
so many things.
Well, and you
Oh,
said something the other day. What was it? You said dressing gown, and I was like,
oh, dressing
we
gown.
don't.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, we don't
it's
have that over here.
it's what we call a dressing gown. It's again, you said
Yeah.
it's like a robe or something. It's like, well,
Yeah.
that's what we call
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It's like with some people when I've said sofa. That's why I've put like sofa slash couch because a lot of people are like, what the
Yeah.
hell's a sofa? I'm like, well, it's where you sit in the living room, and they're like, oh, you mean a couch? And I'm like, no, it's a sofa. Yes, but, it's that's what I've had to start putting down now with slash and the different words around the world because again, like I say, I got viewers in America and everything else, and a lot
Mhm.
of them are like, well, why are you doing that for? And it could be connected to a dressing gown. To me, it
Yeah.
sounds completely normal, but to other
Yeah.
people, it's like, Yeah, what the hell is that? We don't use that over here. Oh,
Yeah. Well, and I think you and I talked a little bit. I'm huge. I love everything British, and one of my favorite
yeah,
series, was Vicar of Dibley. We talked about that. So for me,
yeah,
a
Vicar
lot of that
Dibley. Absolutely
stuff.
love Vicar Dibley.
Oh God, I love Dawn French. I love Vicar of Dibley. I mean, that was, like I told you, I
Mm.
wanted to retire and move to a village like
Do
that.
it, do it.
Yes, yes. I
It's
I'm still thinking about it.
a settee. Yeah, a settee. Yeah, that's another word
Yes,
we
the
use for.
tea. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so many. It's just so crisp. I'm looking at the chat now. You got. Do you call
Uh,
soda fizzy drink too? No, I call it whatever it is. Like I'm drinking a Pepsi now, so that to me as a
yeah,
Pepsi or
that's
whatever.
yeah,
But
Coke.
yeah, it's I've never called it a fizzy drink or whatever. When I was younger, I did.
Yeah.
But Sarah Catter said, "I'm surprised you didn't say a Chesterfield." Yeah, you know what? That sounds like it's from the Chesterfield. It's again, it's if you're a fan of UK comedy and all that kind of stuff. There's a TV series used
Exactly.
to be called Bottom with
Yeah.
Rick Mayall and Adrian Edmondson. And to me, that is literally how the down and outs in the UK are. And it's just fantastic. And like I say with
Yeah.
Chesterfield, it's like, the drawing room. What the hell's a
Yeah.
drawing room? Oh, what do you call it? The saloon or the snug? He goes, oh, the lounge. The lounge is the living room.
Lounge.
And it's like, oh, the lounge. You need to watch it if you haven't. Oh, Bottom is one of the greatest things ever. But
I
say,
don't
like,
think I've ever seen that one.
if you get a chance, it's on YouTube. I know that. So if you get a
Yeah.
chance, look up for Bottom UK. So good,
Oh,
so funny.
I will
There's
have
a
to
lot
watch
of
that
stuff
one.
in that you'll hear, and it'll be like, I could start using that, And cause I say, when I was on with Rob a couple of months ago, we were talking about things, and the conversation just went sideways straight away. There was so many things, like a lot of people like, what you say this, what you say that. It's like, what? It was like, and obviously I was saying things, and they're like, I've never heard of
Yeah.
that. It's like, oh my God, it's absolutely amazing. Like Sarah Wells, it's a
Yeah.
sofa, for fuck's sake. It could be a sofa, it could be a
Yes.
settee, it could be anything you want.
Yes. I mean, that's what I love about it is that there's so many variations, but you have to be careful because, like we were talking about,
Oh
you
yeah,
can't
certain
just
words, it's
call it. Yeah, you got to be careful.
you can't just call someone you don't really know a slag. Yeah, it's like, what was it?
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
slag, it's a slut. Again, you can't really say, because again, this will come back to the Rob stream we did, like, about dogging, which,
Yeah.
yeah, dogging is not exactly a great thing to go and do. That is what you go and. And he was like, "What the hell is this?" And I told him about it, and everyone was like, "Oh my God!" And I was like, "Well, it's just peeping toms in America, I suppose." But
Yeah.
yeah, it's so many. Oh, three-piece. Yes, Carol, you can call it three-piece. Three-piece settee. And all that kind of stuff. There's just so many different things
Yes.
that you can
Well,
that you
like
can say.
Janie's got
It's just
Fanny
amazing.
here. Janie's got Fanny
Right.
doesn't mean butt in Australia, and I found out yesterday from Keely that it doesn't mean that either in the UK. It's
No,
kind
like I say,
of
obviously, fanny in American, or a fanny pack or whatever. And I actually got a
yes.
funny story regarding a fanny pack for you in a minute.
Oh no.
And so this is actually quite a good little segue. And yeah, fanny over here is basically another word for a woman's vagina. And
Yes, I didn't know that.
and my auntie Dorothy, no longer with us. She married a GI in the war, in Second World War, and she moved to Washington, and not Washington D.C., but Washington State, is it?
State. Yeah,
And
Washington State. Yeah.
she struck oil on the land, so she was rich. And she came over here. I'll always remember it because my mum tells me it all the time because she finds it absolutely fucking hilarious. And she goes, "Yeah, my Auntie Dorothy, she came over. She went to Boots, which is like one of the chemists sort of thing. And she straight away she goes, 'Do you have any fanny cream?' And obviously the chemist was like, 'What?' And she goes, 'Yeah, fanny cream. Have you got any?' And she was like, 'No,' and she had to explain then, obviously, what and he was like, oh, you mean some anti-rash cream or something? Yeah, and so yeah, so it is a great one. I got it. It is a great one, but my mum finds it hysterical. Literally, my mum laughs like how you're laughing now. Every single time she says it. Every time.
I could just see somebody walking in, not it'd be like
No.
me walking in if I never knew. You got some fanny cream in there.
Yeah, literally. It would be like, oh my God, like what is wrong? But
What are you
yes,
asking for?
there's just so many different words that obviously mean different things in America that they are here. And that's one of the greatest
Exactly.
things I love. It's like we were talking
Yes.
about the weather earlier, and
Yes.
like I would love to have that snow or the sun over here.
Oh,
We don't get
oh.
any of that really.
Yeah. Well, I told you about our weather over here. It can, well, we did get the snow a couple months ago, but that was the first we had in so long that my daughter came in and asked me, Mom, how do you build a snowman? That's how long it's been since
Yeah,
we've
that
had
is.
one.
I think that is amazing because again, like I was saying, I'm from the UK. To me, it's like, doesn't most of America have snow when it comes in? But and you were saying that you hardly ever get it.
Yeah. Just where we're at, we usually just have the lovely wet heat that, I mean, well, we're in spring right now.
Mm,
We'll probably get another couple of weeks and then it'll be 100 degrees outside, literally. I mean,
yeah.
and it will just be hot and miserable. So, we don't get much spring, we don't get much
Mhm.
fall, we don't get much winter. But we,
Like
we can
Ginger
go
was
along.
saying then, actually, with the condoms and stuff, Johnny's condoms,
Yes.
rubbers, which in the UK knows rubber pants for babies, when the US rubbers are condoms. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
another one is like again, it's like it's a jiffy bag, is that's another word for a condom, and a lot of people take offense to it because in bottom again, because I watch that so much is that I use I'll be back in the jiffy, and some
Yeah.
people look. What? What? Why are you coming back? It's like, oh, I'll be back at you. I'll be back in a minute, if that's all. But there's so many things that you just like, oh. But
Oh
like Tanya
God.
was saying, though, there are so many different words we have over here for swear words. They're absolutely amazing. Like I'm looking for here now, which she
Yeah,
said.
I thought rubbers
But,
or pencil erasers.
yeah, so many. Again, we got so many that some of
Uh,
the words, like some of my favorite ones are like, oh, you knob jockey and all that kind of stuff. Oh, you knobhead. Which
yeah, I've
it's
heard that.
it's a dickhead. That's the thing. It's just, oh, you knobhead. Oh, you knob. Or you.
Yeah,
One of the funniest ones. I don't know why. It's just you bellend.
yeah,
It
I've
just
heard that.
sounds amazing. It's you bellend. And
Yelling.
again, obviously the cunt word is worldwide
Hmm.
known to be like a bad word or whatever. But
Yeah.
over here in the UK, a lot of people use it lovingly towards people. Which you think about,
I
it's like
know.
that's one of the worst words going, but it's also one of the best words ever. Because it's like, oh,
Yeah.
you cunt, or you could be like really angry with it. It's like, yeah,
Yes.
it's a nice word that it could be used bad or good. That's what I
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know I've heard Keely just say it in conversation, and I'm kind of like,
yeah, it's
because we don't use it that much over here. That's kind of it's like on the almost on the level with the F word. I try not to
yeah,
use that one too often, but and so and she'll
it is.
say it, and I have to stop myself and think that over there y'all use it in just regular conversation, and it's really
It
something.
is.
It's neat.
Yeah, there you go.
And
Tanya
bell
was
end, I
just saying
love.
it. Yeah, bell end is what we call the end of a man's penis because it's a word. Yeah, because it looks like a bell. It's like what?
Exactly.
You bell end, get out of here. I've used bell end so many times in my life. The only person I've never ever called anything to is my mum, and I
Yeah.
learned that out years ago because I said one bad thing, and I didn't call her a name or anything. I just I think I told my mum to fuck off. I think. And I was about 15, 16, and that is the only time that my father ever hit me. And let's say I was a bit dazed, a little bit like what's going on, like. And he goes, "You don't speak to your mum like that." I was like, "Okay." Ever since then, never have. But I've said so many things to my dad. And my dad's he's like me, just doesn't give a shit. But
Yeah.
with my mum, out of everyone in the world, she's the only person I'm scared of. And say my mum is
Mhm.
5'4", 5'5", round there, and she's like,
Yeah.
um, in weight. So in for America, she's probably 120 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
And
She's a
I'm
little
just
thing.
scared of her. Yeah, she's like a bottle of pop if anything happens. Yeah, I say pop,
Yes.
bottle of pop, gone. Like, gone. And she just blows her lid, and it's like, yeah, she's the only one.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's how it
Jamie,
was with
I
me.
insult my mum, and she just laughs. Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Well, see, that's my mom was like 5'2". So, and I've been 5'7" since I was about 11 years old.
hmm.
And so for me, but my mom was like that, she didn't get mad easy, but when she got mad, you better look out. I remember her throwing me up against the wall one time. She's looking up at me. She's like, "Go ahead and hit me. Just
Is
go
it?
ahead. I'm gonna knock your damn head off." And I'm
He's
just sitting
saying,
there
he's
like,
saying, looking at you. Do you laugh or not? Because then they're like, "What are you gonna do?" It's like,
"Yes."
okay.
Exactly, and I
Oh,
remember thinking, "What is she doing? What is happening here?" And I remember my mom or my dad said to me later, he's like, "Yeah, you don't wanna piss your mom off, she'll kick your ass." And I'm like,
yeah, literally.
"Yeah, yeah."
Like I say, he's a bit smaller than me. He's 6 foot, so I'm 6'1", and my dad say he's 6 foot, just an inch shorter. But
Yeah,
like I say, he was a proper lad back in his day.
yeah.
He used to do all the fighting and used to do everything, going in bars, fighting and everything during the 70s. See, and over here
Yeah.
in the UK, the 70s were notorious for fights all over the place. And
Yes,
I think my dad said he used to love it. And
yeah.
yeah, because I found out through his friends and all. I was like, yeah, your dad never got it. That's why. My dad was like literally
Mhm.
punching one person. Like, well, like I say, I know how hard he can hit. Literally. He's like, yeah, punch you
Yeah.
one, be gone. That's the end of it. And that's why I got into kickboxing because of my dad. When I was really young, he's like, oh yeah, we'll go because he used to take me and all. And I was like, yeah, I used to
Yeah,
enjoy this. And so I stopped that
yeah,
when I was 25 because I done my back and my knee in. But
yeah.
yeah, it was so much fun with that. But my mum, never, I'll never say anything bad to her, never do anything to upset her. Most of the
No.
time, it's like I'll try and say something and I'll try and like smile at her to be like, I'm joking, I'm joking. And
Yeah,
sometimes it works, sometimes it
yeah.
doesn't. Sometimes she just go off and just go off like, you're having a go. And I'm like, no, I was like, I'm joking, mum, I'm joking.
Oh,
Oh,
man. My mom was usually just the calm, easygoing. She had an amazing laugh,
mhm.
and that's why it has just meant so much to me when people say something about my laugh. Because she was one of those, if she laughed, the whole room would be laughing with her.
That's the way it
But
should be.
if Yes, but if you made this woman mad, good Lord. And
Mm.
like I said, she was slow to anger. But man, when you got her mad, that was a
When
little
it got
woman you did
there,
not want to mess with. Yeah.
yeah. I know a few of those
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. Well,
They could be the greatest person ever, and it's
mhm.
like I say, it takes a lot for them to get angry or whatever. But
Yeah.
sometimes it could just be something small and something insignificant can do it, and you'd be like,
Yeah.
"That's it, boom."
Exactly.
Yeah, I know
Exactly.
people like that.
Yeah, my mom was one you did not want to mess with. And I remember we were talking the other day about discipline. And I remember when we would go to town, my mom first would, get on to me, of course. And then the
Yeah.
next thing was pinching me. She'd get hold of my like right here and just turn it.
Oh,
And I knew with that pinch there was no more warning. I knew at that point if anything else happened, I was going to the car and I was getting my butt tore up, and I'd get another one when my dad saw me. So
oh.
yeah.
It's like just do it all
uh,
together. Go on, just go for it.
yes. And I think about that though with Johnny. When you start seeing some of the stuff now, I know somebody said made a comment in one of my videos. It's a scorched earth policy now with him, and I think that's kind of how he is. Is he's one of those people you've pushed him into a corner, and now he's going to just you're
No, it's
done.
fighting
You
back.
know, yeah,
It's
yeah. I
it's sad
mean,
that it's taken so long.
yeah,
But
yeah,
again, no, everything that everyone has said that he's a lovely guy. He doesn't want to
yeah,
harm anyone.
yeah.
With sorry, with him, that homeless man breaking into his home.
Mhm.
You know, like I say, a lot of people have said, which is probably true. He probably would have been like, once he found out that he's not dangerous,
Mhm.
he'd be like,
Yeah.
"Come on in, mate. Come on in, have a drink with me
Yeah.
or whatever, have something to eat or whatever."
Mhm.
It could have given you clothes and everything else, but
Yeah.
again, it's also scary that someone can get into his house that easy.
Yeah. And that's the second
It's
time this year.
yes, in the space of 3 months,
Well,
twice.
yeah.
It's
Yeah, the woman broke in a few months ago,
That's
and
right. Yeah, she was actually casing it or taking something from it, wasn't she?
yeah.
Because the police caught her
Yeah.
from another burglary that happened, which that is just
Yeah.
gobsmacking. That is like, wow, okay. So she was in the
Yeah.
area anyway. So she done Johnny
Yeah.
Depp's house. Who was the other house? That's what I
Yeah.
would love to know.
I've not heard anything. Did you ever see anything? I never heard anything else
Yeah,
about it
I
other
can't
than
find anything else about it.
yeah. And and when you were doing the video the other day, I think that was the first I'd heard of it. And I was sitting there thinking, I can imagine Johnny calling the jail and like, is he okay? Can I do
Yeah,
anything
say
for him?
just let him
Yeah,
out.
just tell
He
the
didn't do
person
anything
this.
wrong.
Yeah,
He wouldn't press
yeah,
charges or nothing.
yeah. And and that's the thing though. I think I've said all along, I believe she targeted Johnny from the get go. I think that she went into this, she's seen what kind of person he was when she did Rum Diary with him, and she's like, easy mark,
Yeah,
and so
100%.
yeah, and I think that's why I say a lot of her evidence is no better than it is because I think she thought he was never gonna go after her.
Yeah, personally, that's exactly what I think as well. It's like everything
Yes.
that happened, she was like, he's not going to go to court. He's not going to
Yeah.
sue me. I can do whatever the hell I want.
Mhm. Yeah.
Obviously, because the divorce settlement, she signed an NDA. But for some
Yeah.
unknown reason, in December, well, November of that year, she decided
Mm.
to write the op-ed for the Washington Post. It's like, who
Mhm.
told her that was a good idea?
Yes.
Unless some
Yes.
people were like, oh, he's not going to do anything, just do it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why when you look at the evidence and you see how crappy some of it is, but then you say things like the emails that was never sent or the one diary entry, she was just creating enough because I believe she thought
Yes.
I can threaten him and he's going to give me what I want and I'll walk away from this a rich
I'll
woman.
walk away, yeah. It's yeah, so
Yeah.
I really do think it was she just like, oh, he's not gonna do anything. Then
Yeah.
obviously he sued the son, which I think she was
Mhm.
a bit like, oh, he's actually taken them to court over that. And then she was like, oh, he's not gonna do
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
But so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put a link into the chat, which
Yeah.
I don't know if many people have seen this, but Shelby gave it to me earlier. It's for a YouTuber called Teffy.
Yeah.
And oh my god, it's so funny. She
Mhm.
the one I put in is about Amber Heard's assistant when she told the story, her side of the story, when she was saying
Yes.
about she'd ring me up, she'd be yelling at me, screaming at me, and when she's also the one who said that she changed her style because when I first
Mm.
joined Amber Heard and started working for her, she was in the middle of redecorating her home. But the
Now
first
I've
time
heard
I
that.
went to Johnny Depp's place, it was rather similar. It was strikingly similar. Then she realized that she was copying Johnny Depp and say with the clothes and all this kind of stuff. And it's what she actually put
Mhm.
out in this thing, and it's so goddamn funny. Tammy,
Oh, yes.
it's so good. You
I
need to
will have
watch
to
it.
check that out.
It
Yes,
is
I definitely
so good.
will.
Yeah, it's so funny because I'm not going to
Yes.
spoil it, but the woman who does it is literally it's like I don't want to get on the wrong side of this woman. The way she's talking and all that kind of stuff is so good.
Yeah. I mean, and that's, I've read and I've heard some different YouTubers saying stuff about the assistant saying, so I'd really, I want to, I was going to tell you when we went backstage, hey, who's this woman again? Let me, because I mean, gosh, but you see, for me, I've known women like her.
Mm.
I've known women like her. I've watched them work. I may not have recognized it at first, but it's kind of like that with all of them. At first, you tend to be kind of mesmerized by just how usually their personalities are just so big and so they can be very charming, but they can't keep that up for very long. That's the problem. They can't keep that up. And I have watched women like her work with men And it's like, do you not see what I'm seeing here? She's using you, and they never catch it. And until it's too late, usually. And I
It
just
is.
think that she thought with Johnny, I'll go in, I'll take this old man, as she called him, this old man's money, and I'll get the credit for being his wife.
Yeah.
Everybody will know me,
You'll know me
and
for
then
this,
move
and that's
on.
it.
Yeah,
But
and
see, in the chat though,
I
they're
think.
saying no about. Sorry to timing. They're
Go
saying
ahead.
about because she was redecorating her home, that she got rid
Mhm.
of all her old paperbacks and she made Johnny buy her hardback leather-bound first editions, which would have cost a pretty penny because he had them.
Yes,
She had to have them. And
that's so
it's
ridiculous.
crazy what the assistants come out with. And the assistant is just she's like, yeah, this is it. What is the
Mhm.
lady's name again? Nikki.
Yeah,
On YouTube, it's Tefli or Teffy. Teffy, yeah, Tefi. But the assistant, say, I can't remember which one it was who done this one, but obviously we also had Kate, who she
yeah,
stole her story, which to me, still to this day, that that angers me because
yeah,
that woman went through so much, and she's like,
exactly.
all of a sudden, it's like, what? Why is my story being told? And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, she stole my story. It's like that happened
Yeah,
to me. You don't have the right to say that. And again,
exactly.
they believed her instead. It's like, oh, she told us a story, so it happened to her, not you. And it's
Yeah,
like, how is that even possible? But
exactly.
again, it's just no man's club. The judges are they, Nikki?
Well, and the thing is though too, since they found 4 NGN over here, and it's said and done, everything that she said in the UK, everything she said in that trial, she can't change it now.
No,
So, I think in a way that's going to go in Johnny's favor because what was it, 7 witness statements for the UK trial alone?
yeah,
And so, she can't keep her story straight. So I
no,
think think possibly this is going to go really in Johnny's favor in the long run. I think it's going to play for him more, which really, that's why I said when we were talking about, when I read it, just looking at it, it doesn't seem like to me that he should need anything else. But at the same
exactly.
time, you got to prove it, but his proof is so good, and hers is so
This is it.
horrible.
It's like say, obviously, with the one over here against the NGN, they called him a wife beater, and he's like,
Yeah,
right, that's what I'm going to court over because they called me this. But then
yeah,
obviously they were like, oh yeah, you haven't really got any proper solid evidence. It's like, what? It's like, how
yeah,
can you say there's no solid arguments or evidence when she, in
hmm,
fact, admits it? Because on tape,
yeah,
out of everything, the majority of it is her saying, I wasn't punching you. I was hitting you, but I wasn't punching you.
yeah,
I was doing this to you.
yeah,
And it's like, you were actually hitting him. You were
yeah,
punching him. And to say
yeah,
what that Teffy girl says as well, which is actually very true, you don't get to decide who feels what. It's like, oh, if I'm hitting you
exactly.
and I get to call it a punch, not you. It's like, well,
Yeah,
no, you've hit me, you struck me, it's caused pain, so you've hit me, you've punched me, and
exactly.
it's just some of the things of what else was she saying about it. He was saying, oh, I just gotta get out with it, and she's like, oh
Hmm.
yeah, you're always a baby. It's like you're
Yeah.
poking the bear. That's what I think she
Hmm.
was doing though. She just tried to get him to hit her. That's what I
Yeah.
personally think. Literally,
Oh
how
yeah.
far can I do it? How far can I
Yeah.
poke him? And
Boy, she realized real quick though how when she had pushed him too far.
oh
Did you
yes,
catch that aha moment with her with the fear she felt all of a sudden? Did you?
yes, it's just sad because it's like I enjoyed that, but I shouldn't because it's
Yeah.
because of what it is, and it's like
Yeah.
you've provoked someone so much, especially
Yeah.
say with the TMZ video as well, and you could
Ugh.
just see it at the end of it. It's just that grin she does. It's a shit-eating grin,
Yes.
and it's just
Ugh.
like, ha, I got him. And I was like, well, actually, no, you've just shown the world what a horrible person you really
Mhm.
are. You've set all this
Exactly.
up to make him angry. And
Yeah.
that's not right.
No.
And
No, that's a horrible thing to do.
no abuse survivor would do that. Because
Exactly.
it's like, oh, I'm going to set this up. I'm going to provoke him and see what he does. Huh. Oh, but
Yeah,
remember, guys, I'm the victim here. And it's like, what?
exactly.
It's just horrible to see.
Yeah, somebody just said, Melissa Vasquez says she was proud of herself, and
She
that's how
was.
she was
That's
acting.
yes.
And that's not the actions of a person in fear for her life.
No,
That's the thing.
that's the word she used. Yeah, I was in fear of my
Yes.
life, and it's like, no, you weren't, bitch. Shut
Uh,
up.
yeah, yeah,
Ah,
and it's just so. Those audios are so telling. That right there should
yes.
be enough to convince anybody. But apparently, I mean, look at the people that still follow her. And I want to ask you one
Mm.
more thing before we finish up because we hadn't touched on them. Who do you think's going to break first out
Who's
of
gonna
her?
break first?
Yeah, out of her gang of weirdos.
Oh God, Io Tiller straight away.
Yeah.
Io Tiller. He's the right. I don't know what to say. Right. What do I say? Do I call him a he? Do I call him a she or they?
I,
Or because I have no idea
I,
about that. Because I've had some people
yeah.
say is this, is that, and I'm like, well, what is it? I'll just call him
Yeah.
he. And
Yeah.
but yeah, I think it's going to be him mostly because he seems to be the one who he jumps at things too easily. He bites too easily.
Mm,
And obviously, we
yeah.
saw that with Brian on Twitter when he was saying, "Well, you said this to me," and because Brian put
Hmm.
the tweet out there, the DM, because Io
Yeah.
Tillett was doing all this other stuff, it's like, well, there we go. You jumped at it. Brian
Yeah.
basically baited you. He's like, well, this is happening. It's like, this is what the guy did. He's saying this to me now.
Mhm.
Well, actually, this is what he's really said. And it's
Yeah.
like he just went on it. Oh, Brian, how dare you? And all this kind of stuff. It's like, he's the one who's going to go. He's the one who's going
Yeah.
to break straight away and be like, oh, this is happening. Because with
Yeah.
the subpoena, because he cocked that up. He's like, I don't know anyone by this name. But then it's like,
Yeah.
well, everyone found out he's actually his lawyer's secretary, and his
Yeah.
name is on the house. So it's like,
Mhm.
which again, I've always said it, and I've said it to everyone. This community, the ones who are involved in it properly, they have done so much good work, just finding
Yes.
every little detail out. It's like, how can people who, again, like us, like who live on the internet or whatever, how can we
Yeah.
find out so much information that these people in court who are paid to do it, they just
Yes.
go, oh, we don't care. We don't need this. We don't want to look there. We don't want to see this. Because
Mhm.
the judge, Nicole, because obviously you had a judge who would have looked into all the background. And
Mhm.
surely he would have saw that Judge Nicole's wife, his best friend, and everything else, oh, they're all linked to Amber Heard. Oh, that's
Yeah.
no worry. That's fine.
Mhm.
In what world is that fine? Straight away, Judge Nicole
Yes.
should have said, conflict of interest. My friend knows her lawyer. We can't really go out because they go out together. My best friend is her mentor. They were around in the summer having dinner together. We can't be here.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
didn't do it. He just didn't care.
Yeah. Yeah. I've kind of wavered back and forth because I kind of thought maybe I think really I was hoping Whitney would just simply because she's
I'm
got a
seeing
kid.
now in the chat, yeah, it's they
Yeah.
are saying about some of them are thinking that Whitney would be it to crack. I
Yeah.
didn't really think of it as that, with her because it's it's like apples and pears, isn't it? It's like
Yeah.
she could be defending her sister, but then it could
Yeah.
also be like I'm defending her, and look at what people are calling me now. Because a
Yeah.
lot of people have gone against her because of Jennifer Howell.
Yeah.
I think Jennifer Howell will be a good influence on the case, as well as the
Mhm.
two police officers. Because the British
Yeah.
judge, Judge Nicole, he didn't want to care about
Yes.
the police. It's like,
No.
you are the court, you do law and order. These police officers, they want to tell you what's going on, and then
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I don't care about them, get them away. It's like,
They didn't take notes, so I'm not going to listen to
yeah,
them.
oh,
My God Almighty. Which, from what I understand, the new judge over here, She's a Marine, and the husband is either a retired cop or is a
Mm,
cop. So, I think that's going to go along. And I just hope though that this judge will play it fair, because I believe if a judge will play it fair, regardless of everything else, if they will just be fair, I think Johnny will win. I mean, you know, if you just, because like I've said if you look at this evidence, if you sit down, you read, you watch all the video, you listen to all the audio, there's no
yes,
way anyone could find that he did anything like this to her. And so, I just really think if the judge will just do it fair, he's got it won, you know. But with
that's all we can
I
hope
think
for.
yeah, I think with her, I was hoping she would crack, because she has a family and she has someone to care for besides her. But
Yes,
yeah, like Nikki says, Whitney's way too afraid of her. And,
yeah,
I do believe that she probably has been a victim all her life too of the same thing that Johnny went through. And it's so sad. But I agree. I think I was going to be the first, because I love how I has yet again wiped clean social media, and it's like,
I
really,
don't
dude?
understand why they're all doing that, because for some unknown
What's the
reason, the
point?
majority of them, they're just wiping things off from 2018 and back. It's like,
Yeah.
what? It's like people have already got all of that anyway, and it's never truly gone from the internet. It'll
Yeah.
always be somewhere, and you can delete
Hmm.
it. You can think, oh, it's not there anymore. The
Yeah.
main file is still going to be there somewhere. Someone
Oh
will
yeah.
always have it, no matter what.
Yeah, somebody's archived it somewhere. And I like this question. I still think Rocky will turn on her because she hasn't been seen in the picture since the UK. I
That's
haven't seen
true.
anything about Rocky.
No,
What do you think happened?
I'm not too sure. Say we haven't seen it
Yeah.
since. It's
Yeah.
she just well, she has. She just seemed to have like disappeared, unless she's just
Yeah.
distancing herself. Like, oh, I don't want to get involved. I'm still your friend,
Yeah.
but leave me alone. I don't want to
Well,
get involved.
didn't she wipe her Instagram same time as
Yeah,
I did?
yeah,
Yeah, so it just might be she, like you say, she's distancing herself. But I know we've not seen anything from her, and I just wonder what the
Janie
rock.
Davis just said it now. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're doing it to protect themselves. Yeah, 100%.
Mhm. Yes. Yeah. And I mean, I think they need to, because you look at the subpoenas, they're
Mm,
very specific, and so that they know
very.
something. And you don't ask on a subpoena unless you already know what the answer is.
Yeah,
So
we want certain, especially with like the certain dates, and it's that's the
yeah.
one thing I do like at the moment was the last major subpoena we saw, which is like towards IO and everyone else. So like we want
Mhm.
everything from this date, and
Yeah.
they could be thinking, oh, why would they want that? And again,
Mhm.
because I know you could do it here in the UK, but you're bound to in the States as well. Is
Yeah.
you can get your past documentation from your phone calls and all that if you still
Mhm.
have the same number, that is, because they all
Yeah.
store it because by
Right.
law they have to.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, here we go. Yeah, here we go. This is what we got. If they say, oh, I
Yeah.
can't do it, I think the judge would be like, actually, no, you can. Go to
Oh, yeah.
your phone supplier or whatever and ask for them. And
Exactly.
I think some of them are going to be very damning towards them. They're going to be
I
like, oh,
do.
we actually send text messages like this to each other. And it's like, yeah, we
Mhm.
know. That's why we want them.
Yeah, and the thing is if they sit there and say, "Well, no, I don't have that," Johnny's team can always subpoena whoever their carrier is, and they
Exactly.
can get it. There's ways of getting that information, and those dates are so specific. That's what I love about it. It just
Yeah.
makes me, oh, I can't wait. You're
It
so
was.
soft.
It was so specific. Like I say, it was before. It was like, oh, we want all like the ones she did to him. We want all communication from like May 2013 to present day.
Mhm.
But with him, it's like actually, I want
Yes.
this date, this date, this date. Which I
Yes.
think a lot of them, when they saw it, they were a bit like, oh, like
Mhm.
why does he want them dates? It's like with the subpoena, like obviously the one we just seen about the ex-divorce lawyer.
Gosh.
It's if they've kept
Yes.
them away from him, and obviously they're in his
Mhm.
possession now and everything else, and
Yeah.
she wants them because, like, well, what have they got? That
Yeah.
I think that could be a bit like, because a lot of people have said is, right, I need to see what they got on me because I either need to know if it's true or if it's wrong. Because
Mhm.
it's not going to be fake. It's either going to be true or it's going to
Yeah.
be like, right, I can just spin it my way. But
Mhm.
hopefully, it's something really damning towards her,
I do too. I do
which
too.
I would love.
Well, we're gonna end it up here because
Yeah,
Keely's going on an hour. I'm going on with her, and I know you're like me with your back, especially yours is a lot worse than mine. This starts to hurt me after. This
yeah.
is why I always end at about an hour and a half because I start to get to hurting, and so.
Oh
But
no, it
I'm
does.
so
It
glad
does.
you've been here.
Yeah, it's been great. Like I say, we
Yes,
say it's been
buttholes are broken.
a lot of times. Like I say, I've turned Rob down. I've turned say Stevie down. I've turned so many people down over the last couple of months
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it was like say it was February onwards when literally I had just like a month and a half of just bad luck on my back. I was like, yes, more
ouch.
better then. Then I had the COVID jab. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
here we go. It was not one thing, it's another. But like I
yeah,
said, everything else now is touch wood. Everything is going to
yeah.
go perfect.
Well, that's why I told you, no worries. I can wait. Cause see, I've
Mm.
got degenerative disc disease, so I know what problems with your back is, and that's
Oh
why I
yeah,
was like, hey,
yeah.
whenever you can, we're good. We're good.
Also, before we finish, say I've got something fair to say about the degenerative disc syndrome, because that's what I got. I want to say the other word then. And 5 years ago, when I actually broke my back, and say I was in hospital, and because what it was New Year's Eve, and my drunk friend, he was walking, and he pulled down. He fell down the stairs, but he pulled me with him, and I was drunk, didn't really feel it,
Yeah,
and obviously a couple of days went by. I was like, oh, my back's really hurting, really hurting. I was in
yeah.
work and I was at my desk and with my friends and everything else, and I just sunk down like this. And I was like, what's going on? And my friend Christy, she just started laughing. She's like, oh, what are you doing, you dick? I'm like, back's hurting. Because she thought I was just messing around or I didn't want to see anyone. I was like,
Yeah.
no, my back's, I don't know what's wrong. And she was like, you're like, oh, right, okay. Because where my building used to be is behind our main hospital in South Wales.
Oh,
So
okay.
she goes, right, I'll drive you there now. Went there, everything else, stayed in hospital then for like 2.5 weeks. And there was like 3 days in, my sister was with me, and the doctor comes in because, oh, we've done the MRI, this, and the other. It was, yes, he goes, when people reach the age of 30, things start breaking down in the body and all this. And I was just there, like, I
Yeah.
just, yeah, okay. And he said, it goes, oh, degenerative disc syndrome, this can happen at an
Mhm.
early age. And sadly, when you get to 30, this does happen. And my
Yeah.
sister started laughing. And Laura B, I broke my back. I broke L4 and L5, just the bones were there.
Oh.
And he asked my sister, why was she alarmed? He goes, your brother's in pain. And she went, he only turned 30 2 days ago, which it was January the 4th is my birthday, and it was January the 6th on the Saturday when I was in there, and I was like, he's like, oh, and she was just there, gone, and she's like, oh, just come on quick, and it's just like, but yeah, found out two broken
Oh,
bones, and say now what I
oh,
got because of that incident, and
yeah.
how stupid. The NHS is amazing over here. Don't get me wrong, it's
Yes,
absolutely amazing,
yes.
but sometimes they can mess up. And because of
Yeah.
how long it's taken me to see people, I
Mhm.
got two crushed discs, which can't come out. They can't operate. Which
Oh
sucks. And the only
gosh.
better way to describe it is, when you see a photo of like an older bike which has got all the weeds over,
Yeah.
that's what the
That's
bike's my discs, and the weed,
mm.
the blood vessels and the nerves, they can't get them out because of that. And I was like,
Oh.
here we go. And that's when they're like, oh, take morphine. I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
hence the no
yeah,
drinks and everything. So,
yeah.
but everything just went nuts. Obviously, my sister saying that with just, and he's like, "Oh yeah, he just turned it
Mhm.
2 days ago," and the doctor's like, "Oh right, okay," and it just didn't phase him, and he just carried on and
Yeah.
just walked away. Then I'm like, "Cheers, mate." But yeah, 2.5 weeks I was in hospital for, which is fun.
Um, well, I've just realized I have another reason I love you. My birthday's January the 5th. So,
Oh, see, there we go.
and when you said you're 4 and 5, that's the two that I found out that I had degenerative disc disease because one was crushing the other
There we
so
go.
heavily
See,
you couldn't tell it was there. And I'll just let you know,
You're
since
the
I've already been
first.
through them, the 30 is the worst. 40,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But 50, I think it was more in my head than anything.
It is. It's because when he said to me, he goes, oh, you've, your back's you basically you've broken your back, and I was
Yeah.
thinking, I was like, no, I can't broken my back. I can still sit up, I can still do this because when you think, oh, you've broken your back, you're flat,
Mm,
obviously the
yeah.
body brace and everything. He's like,
Yeah.
no, he goes, when you break a bone in your back, you've broken your back, and I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't even think of it like that,
Yeah.
and it's like, hey,
No.
this is what's happened. You've broken your
Mhm.
L4 and your L5 bones,
Yeah.
and because what it was L5 was the worst because that's how I landed. Literally, I
Yeah.
landed like
Oh,
that,
man.
and that's
Mm.
what it was. So obviously that bone just went crunch. The L4 was a fractured bone of it, and I was like, oh, cheers, mate. Might say I can't really say it. Make sure my might he fractured his tibia bone. So
Oh.
it was
Ooh.
a fun night. I say because we were drinking, we didn't feel anything. This is what was so good about, say, the home remedy. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, it's great.
Yeah, yeah, I've done that a few times.
Oh, it's so fun.
Thankfully, I didn't do anything as bad as y'all did, but I've
Oh,
woken up a little worse from wear.
I just love saying I broke my back because people are like, "What? You broke your back?" I was like, "Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?" It's like because you just don't expect it. It's
Yeah,
again, I
yeah,
certainly never expected to break my back. Like I say, it was I broke my rib in year 8 of school, and that was the only time I ever had a broken bone up until my nose broke when I
yeah,
was 29. So that was, again, that was just my own thing, my own because of
yeah,
fighting and stuff, training
yeah.
and stuff. And then the next year, I done my back. I'm like, this is it. This is my
Yeah.
time. Like, this decade's mine. The 2010s were amazing.
Uh, well, see now, Keely and Gary have been really kidding me because over the past few months, I fell like twice, and I keep hurting myself. And I was telling them, when I was a kid, my mom, she finally at one point, she's like, "You've got to stop. They're going to think I'm abusing you if I keep taking you to the emergency room."
Yes, yes. You think about it. Yeah, you break things and everything else. Yeah. Oh, bloody hell. I didn't even think of that.
And that's how I was for many years. I mean, like I had my I've had both my knees operated on, but one I did like 2 years in a row. One was riding horses, the next time was playing football. And
Oh,
and I've cut my hands open, cut my head open, cut my lip open. I've broken my arm, so I've done everything. And I went for a long time with doing nothing. And then over the last few months, I fell and bruised my ribs,
oh,
and then
it's
with my
just all
back.
coming.
Yes,
So you got
and
Cherry now want to party with you. Say,
oh, cherry, good
literally,
lord.
it's oh, I don't drink anymore, so it's gonna be a boring ass
Um,
party. Trust me. But
I have a feeling though, if cherry's involved, it will still be fun.
I think it would be, yeah.
Oh, and Tanya, I'm not sure how you say it. It was American football, but it was tackle
I know,
football,
yeah.
and
I know what you meant.
yeah. Well,
It's
and see, for me, it was a boy that couldn't tackle me because I was tough back in the day, and I
I'm
wanted to,
right. Do it.
yeah, and he couldn't tackle me, so he got mad and he picked me up and he
No.
slung me. And my body went this way, my leg went this way, and I mean, I had a stick. I sat out for a little while, but I finished the game. I drove my car home, and by the time I got home, my knee was the size of a baseball, and my mom had to take me. And of course, I'd torn all the cartilage in my knee. They did surgery the next day, and then a year later, I was riding horses. Horse threw me. I went right over the top of the horse.
Oh.
Yeah, and had to have the surgery a year later. And see, back then, when you have that arthroscopic surgery, now they don't even put a brace on you. You're back on your feet the next day. When I originally had it, when I was 16 and
Mhm.
17, I had to wear a brace that went from my hip to my ankle for 6 solid weeks, both times. Talking about fun getting on the school bus.
Oh.
But
Yeah,
y'all,
that's, oh,
yeah. We're working again here and let
Yeah.
everybody get them a break and go check out Keely. I'm on with Keely this evening, so she's doing a live stream, and JFD's live streaming tonight. And you got anything coming out tonight, Dan? Or are you doing a stream or
No,
anything
I'm
tonight?
going to say it's like say it's coming up to 10 o'clock nearly here,
Yeah,
and like say for me that's normally my bedtime, my wind down time, and
yeah.
yeah, I'm getting old now. See, that's what it's got to be
I
done.
know. I know what you mean.
But yeah, no, say it's been great being on. So I was going to do
Yes.
a video earlier, but I was just couldn't be bothered in one of those bad moods.
Yeah.
So, but say obviously done this, been great. Seen Shelby most of the afternoon with her, and say tomorrow I'm on a stream with Rob and Colonel
Yeah.
Kurtz.
Oh,
So
that'll
that
be
should be fun.
awesome. Yeah.
I've never actually spoken with Colonel Kurtz, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, she's pretty amazing. I really like her. I listen to her, her videos are longer. And so
Mm.
I listen to them when I'm working. That way I'm not having to change it, and everything, and I can keep working. And she's really got some great insights. So I think y'all have a great time. And Rob, I love him to death. He's
I love
so
Rob. Yeah,
goofy.
so we got again. We got a lot in common. We have. It's
Yes,
a lot of
yeah.
Star Wars,
Yeah.
everything. So it's always fun.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm so glad we finally got to get together. I
Yeah,
knew
definitely.
that we would get along good, and I'm
And
still going to
obviously,
the
we found more. Say, obviously, your birthday's a day
yeah.
after mine as well. So there we go.
Yeah, yeah, and see, I'm still going to the Virginia trial, so we'll still get together and do that live report.
Yeah, yeah, right. Let's say, obviously, say what you were saying about with the places, the flights still haven't come out for anything. So I need to basically get that first and see what's going on.
Yeah,
'Cause I would
yeah.
love to go over there for it. Well, come over there
Oh
for it, I should
man,
say.
yes, yes,
It'd be
we'd love
fun.
to have you.
It'd be really fun.
But thank you to everybody. We had a lot of people here today. I really appreciate everybody coming, and I know everybody came to see Dan. Love you to death. And we will see everyone later. Y'all have a good evening.
Yeah,
Enjoy
have
your
a good
weekend
evening.
wherever you're at. Yeah, and
Goodbye.
bye.
Have fun.